Hi and welcome back to our page. Care without structure is risky, and policies without practice, useless. Under the new CQC assessment framework, processes are one of the 6 key categories, and they're an opportunity to prove that your service isn't just caring, it's safe, consistent, and well governed. In this episode, I'll show you what processes CQC reviews, how to present them, and how to build systems that actually support outstanding care. Great care doesn't just happen by chance, it happens by design. Your systems and processes are the engine room of your service. They show how decisions are made, how safety is protected, and how quality is monitored. Weak or outdated processes put people at risk. When your systems are clear, current, and embedded into daily practice, they give inspectors and family confidence. Here's a key tip. CQC inspectors will often cross-reference policy claims against real staff behaviour. If what's written isn't what's lived, then that's a big problem. Let's go a bit deeper. These are the key process areas CQC will examine, and where most providers are either prepared or exposed. The first is policies and procedures, such as safeguarding. Make sure to have clear, accessible, up-to-date, and do they explain how to report abuse? Is training embedded, and do staff know how to follow the steps? Next is your complaints policy. Are people able to follow it step by step? Is it transparent and followed in practice? Next is your mental capacity and goals. Does it support people for decision making, consent, and least restrictive care? And lastly, your infection control. Does it outline PPE protocols, cleaning schedules, and outbreak management? A key point to remember is your policies must be reviewed regularly and accessible to all staff. Did you know that inspectors may ask a random care worker, "How do you report a safeguarding concern here?" Their answer reflects your real processes, not what's on paper. Don't forget how important training records are. These must include your mandatory training such as safeguarding, manual handling, GDPR, and infection control, amongst many. Also, role-specific modules, for example, epilepsy care, peg feeding, if you're in specialist services. And lastly, competency checks and refresher intervals. You can often get bonus points if you assign training through a system with deadlines, track completions digitally, and integrate training with audit findings or incidents. For example, after a medication error, we added a refresher on PRN protocols and observed competency the following week. Up next is incident and complaint logs. Every accident, near miss, or concern should be recorded in detail, have a timely investigation, and assigned protocol follow-up actions. CQC wants to see evidence of learning. For example, we changed X because of Y, not just a closed file. A good example of this is a complaint was received about call delays, so we reviewed the rota and added more time for travel. Medication management is also very key. Make sure to have checklists and audits for safe storage, timely administration, mark sheet accuracy, PRN usage and documentation, and any disposable procedures. Bonus points, all mandatory if you have monthly medication audits, do random spot checks, and document staff competencies in medication handling. Make sure to keep regular audits of care plans, medication, health and safety, infection control, training, and any environmental needs. Remember, a tick box audit isn't enough. Make sure to show issues identified, any action plans that were created, and timeframes of any actions assigned. A key to remember is that a good audit means nothing unless it leads to visible change. That's what inspectors expect, real impact. When the CQC asks about your processes, don't just hand over a policy folder, or don't just say, "We've got policies." Show them live systems that demonstrate how your service actually works. Make sure every policy is dated and signed with a review schedule, with staff acknowledgement logs. Digital systems like QCS, CloudDoc, and many more can often auto-tune these beautifully. Be sure to also present your audit findings and any corrective actions. For example, an infection control audit took place on the 10th of January 2025. What was found? That there was no hand washing signage dotted across the rooms. And the action for this? We added signage and retrained 3 members of staff. This was completed on the 13th of January 2025, which shows fast action, clear ownership. That's what CQC wants to see. Training and competency is also very key. Make sure to have a training matrix that shows who's trained in what, when it expires, who's overdue, and any competency observations logged by managers. Be sure to keep a complaints and incidents folder, making sure to have clear evidence of incident forms, investigation summaries, letters of responses if a duty of candour is relevant, any lessons learned and that have been shared with staff. Remember, strong systems build safe care, but there are a few common pitfalls that providers must avoid. The first is policies are out of date or unused. Fix this by reviewing yearly, assign ownership, and quiz staff during supervisions. Mistake 2 is audits happen but nothing changes. Fix this by making sure every audit leads to an action, it's tracked and signed off. Mistake number 3 is all compliance is paper-based. Use visual trackers, dashboards, and interactive tools and make evidence accessible and live. And lastly, training records are scattered or incomplete. Make sure to maintain a centralized training matrix with auto reminders. And finally, remember that your processes are your foundation. They prove that your service isn't just caring, it's safe, consistent, and always improving. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for our next episode.